Some of our most elite warriors operate in the shadows. Most of their operations are deemed classified or sanitized if medical care or research is being sought at the VA. So how much is going unreported? Special operators are esteemed as silent, precise, and deadly warriors. However, if we fail as a medical community to recognize the similarly silent, precise, and deadly nature of neurodegenerative processes affecting them, how can we truly expect neurologists, psychiatrists, and researchers to understand the true long-term pathological consequences our warriors face? Studies have shown that traumatic brain injuries, TBIs, and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, prevalent among military personnel can lead to Alzheimer's disease and chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE. Repeated blast exposures have been linked to increased brain inflammation and structural changes, underscoring the need for heightened awareness and research into these conditions. America's elite military divers, Navy SEALs, Army Special Forces combat divers, pararescue, and Marine Corps MARSOC raiders carry out the most dangerous underwater missions in the world. But beneath the surface, an invisible threat is stalking them: traumatic encephalopathy syndrome, or TS, and the post-mortem diagnosis of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE. Today, we uncover how the very nature of their training and operational combat exposure could be putting them at serious risk for long-term neurodegenerative brain injury, and why this is an issue no one is talking about until now. Traumatic encephalopathy syndrome, TBI, and the post-mortem discovery of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, is a progressive brain disease caused by repeated trauma. It's been widely studied in NFL players and boxers, but military operators, especially those in dive teams, are emerging as another high-risk group identified. Symptoms of TS-CTE include memory loss, mood swings, depression, impulsivity, and even motor dysfunction. And here's the kicker: it can take years, even decades, before symptoms appear. The problem with TS-CTE is that it's not caused by one big hit, but rather a lifetime of smaller subconcussive impacts, like the kind experienced in blast waves, high G maneuvers, and repeated shockwave exposure. And military divers face all of these risks. One of the biggest threats to combat divers: underwater explosions. Whether they're Navy SEALs placing demolition charges, Army Special Forces combat divers sabotaging enemy harbors, or MARSOC raiders setting up a beach assault, these warriors are routinely exposed to blast waves underwater. And here's the science. In the air, shock waves dissipate quickly, but underwater, they travel 5 times faster and with far greater force. This means that divers are absorbing these shock waves directly without even feeling an impact. But inside their skulls, their brains are taking a hit. There is overwhelming evidence seen post-mortem that repeated blast exposure causes microscopic damage to the brain. The problem? Operators don't black out or even feel concussed and never know these subconcussive neurodegenerative processes has begun. But over time, this damage builds up, leading to symptoms we associate with TS-CTE. It's not just underwater blasts. Many military divers are also trained in explosive breaching. Navy SEALs, Green Berets, and MARSOC operators all use demolitions to enter enemy compounds. Each time a breach occurs, operators are exposed to repetitive overpressure waves. Researchers have measured pressure waves during breaching ops, and the exposure inside the stack can be significant. These small, repeated concussions don't cause immediate symptoms, but over time, they result in brain inflammation and tau protein buildup, key markers of CTE. High G-forces are another overlooked factor. Many combat divers are also trained in HALO, high altitude, low opening, and HAHO, high altitude, high opening jumps, where extreme G-forces can cause brain slosh, the rapid movement of the brain inside the skull. Add in hard landings, rapid ascents from deep dives, and underwater accidents, and you have another major source of head trauma. The problem is, no one is tracking these events over a special operator's career. One Navy SEAL reported that he started noticing memory issues in his late 30s. He reported these symptoms for a decade more, until finally in his early 50s they told him the brain scan showed normal aging patterns. 18 months later, he committed suicide, and stage 2 chronic traumatic encephalopathy was diagnosed post-mortem. His wife reported prior to his suicide that he was getting lost in places he knew well. She reported that his mood changed, and he became angry all the time. He became irrational at times, seemingly triggered by the smallest challenges. But then he couldn't articulate or find the words. And sadly, everyone was beginning to be afraid of him more than ever. We never thought about TISA CTE. We thought concussions only happened in football. But when you look at the exposure, diving, blasts, parachuting, combat, it makes sense that guys are having problems later in life. So what can be done? Right now, the VA and DoD are expanding research into TSCTE in military personnel. But screening for TSCTE is not standard practice for dive teams. That needs to change. We need better blast monitoring, more long-term neurological studies, and early interventions before symptoms get worse. Combat divers put everything on the line. It's time we fight for their health, just as hard as they fight for us. The silent danger of TSCTE is real. And for our nation's elite warriors, it's time to bring it to the surface. If you or someone you know has served in a combat dive team, share this video. The more we raise awareness, the better chance we have of saving lives. Super like, subscribe, and share for more content on veteran health and breachers syndrome.